It's another brief moment in time when we get to see the change of the tides. The shifted, twisted bit technology showcasing the little bits of safety, while the quick trips are surely randomly sparking the photons around me. Let the light flow from the heat, yo. When the photons ignite, highlighting, yo, then you know it's that time when we force a change in tides. A little bit lined with something in us. It's almost like we something else, autonomous, or maybe perhaps it's that missing piece you needin'. Perhaps it's that simple message you searching. Perhaps it's just a different time framing us for the next adventure in the mainframe. Getting excited, so are the photons. Don't laminate so we can change the coupon. Let me raise the hash rate, submit the coupon fake, and reduce the rate while we mine our major bags. Crypto technology like cryptographic money will hash in your life into a set of QRs. It doesn't matter cause it's time for 3D changes perspectives. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
What up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Alright, you guys probably seen the name Vibe Coding versus LANF. What the heck? We want to know, like, with the rise of the popularity of vibe coding, I really thought I would dive in on it specifically and find out, like, if it's any good. Now, if you've been following me on Twitter, and you already know that I've been messing with the AIs for a long time, and even before they were popular. So, but then they probably, you would have seen me also vibe coding instead of learning Python. Like, straight up, first I used Grok to code and Copilot to see, like, which could produce real working Python code, which we've spoken about on the channel briefly in a previous episode. And so using Python as like this ultimate test, because Python can be coded to be like cross operating system compatible, right? But if Python is just slightly wrong for some of the dumbest reasons, like your spacing is incorrect at the beginning, so your index is wrong, or if just something is ordered in the wrong way, the whole program comes crashing down. So now I thought it was time to test the ideal of which produces something faster, actually vibe coding or learning a new language. And because we're talking about learning a new language, there's going to be a huge time consideration here that other people just aren't doing when doing this consideration. So before we get going any further, I want to thank today's partnerships and sponsorships. So I want to thank the Organized for teaming up with Bitcoin Live Digital Broadcasting, DB, because Bitcoin Live DB and the Organized is a powerhouse combo. I see new heights for both organizations. Now, if you haven't checked out any of the Deorganized early morning broadcasts for stocks and other topics, then they seem to be taking off with it every morning they go on. Go ahead and check them out on X, Twitter, pretty much anywhere you're watching this, except for Odyssey. All right, and I now want to thank the sponsor. So we actually have one of these. Is really awesome. I want to thank Shieldfolio for sponsoring today's episode from within a quantum bit, as well as the Bitcoin Live DB network. Now, if you haven't seen a Shieldfolio, they're like a little black book that are made from stone paper. They're fade resistant, tear resistant, and even water resistant. So you know the info and the secrets you store in your Shieldfolio will last and survive whatever you throw at it. I personally have a Shieldfolio. I use it for my website info, contact keys, crypto keys, among other things. They're like this little black book. They're pocket sized and ready to be by your side, regardless of the adventure in real life or online. And I'm dead serious. I actually have one of these in real life. I use it all the time. And they have other great products using the same type of paper and stuff. Now, we give you a QR code here on the screen, takes you directly to the website, where if you use the code BitcoinLive20, you get 20% off your purchase today. And now, again, this product is available all over. You can even go to Walmart and get it. But if you go to their website, scan the QR. Now, I'm going to have the QR on the screen all the time throughout today's episode, down there in the middle, with the code BitcoinLive20 to help you out. Get that 20% anytime you're watching. So even if you're rewatching this later, you can just go ahead and scan that, jump over, and check it out. All right, let's roll in with the roll-ins before we roll in. Miguel and Folio for sponsoring today's episode. Now, okay, all right. Let's get into it. So, in case you don't know, the way we do this, whoa, hello, wait a second. Copy that. Wait 1 second. I just realized my chat token didn't update. So we're going to attempt to forcefully update it. Okay. Refresh and that's creepy. Try that again. Sad part is I know it was working. I saw it work. I apologize. We might not have a working chat. I know I'm pulling the right. Sorry. I know last week we had problems with the mic, which I'm on Linux, and I keep having these tiny weird issues that I can't actually find what the problem is. Chat might be working, chat might not be working. I'm going to actually jump on over on something and see if I can comment. See if I can force. Roadkill, thank you for showing me it's working. What is up, brother? Morning. Oi, bro. Oi. Alright, so we know chat is definitely working. Alright, so the way we do this is throughout today's episode, we talk about different various things. We're going to different websites. I'm going to pop up a QR. This QR is going to allow you to scan and follow along. There should be links on YouTube if you're watching this, but I did notice YouTube is actually cutting out data out of the links, so they're untouchable sometimes. Meaning, oh, good thing I've been doing this QR thing the whole time, so you can always follow along no matter where you're at home. You just, even if you're on your phone, just take a screenshot and use your phone's OCR, on-screen reader, AI, or whatever other magic tech it might have to do this for you to read that QR at a later date. So, for example, the people on my screen right now here, this is the organized meeting I was talking about earlier. They go live almost every morning, every evening with Bitcoin and other things like stacking stacks. Go ahead and check them out for your daily hookup on what's digitally popping. All right, so I always use them as my example, and I always give a free pre-search query because, well, been doing pre-search since pre-search existed. So here's your free pre-search query, which again, today is explain vibe coding, please. Like always, I did not use this query in today's episode research, but that doesn't mean we won't have some overlapping links. And if anything about today's episode actually interests you, well, this free pre-search query should help you find more. Just replay after this show, scan the QR, and jump in after today's episode. All right. Okay. So I need to do this little thing. Whoop. All right. So we need to catch up for a second. I need to catch you guys up on some deets. Okay. So basically, we're looking at vibe coding instead of learning a new language. Now, for me, I have a learning disability, so I have to relearn everything over and over, about 5 years or so before I can really recall anything. And so, as odd as it is, I'm doing all of today's end result considerations in a 5-year period. Now, one of the other reasons why I'm picking the 5-year period, to be dead honest with you, 5 years to learn a coding language is like the most basic amount of time it takes for most people to go from I do not know how to code this language to I can code this language and do most things I would like to do without having to actually look stuff up. It would just take some trial and error. So 5 years is a really decent amount of time for learning a programming language. Even like learning a real language, I think 5 years is a decent amount of time. Probably a little bit more than you really need to be able to just speak the language. Maybe not be super fluent and know all the words, but right. So like 5 years is a decent time. Okay, so now in 5 years, let me just read my notes verbatim. So, um, and it's okay. So it says it takes me 5 years to learn most things where I can recall it and actually make something from the coding. Um, then I'd have to learn, like, basically there's a lot of little techniques that makes code good. Okay. Um, and so that stuff normally comes after that 5 year mark. So normally you learn your generic coding and stuff in 5 years, and then like unique techniques in coding you learn after the 5 year mark. So we're also going to consider that throughout today's episode. So really we're going to be looking at like cost and what it's going to take for you to get there. Like, for example, a really easy way to look at this, vibe coding, your cost is different than just going to boot camp or code boot camp or school or something like that, right? And your work process is way different. Like your work process in coding is trial and error. Your work process with AI is debug, reprompt, debug, reprompt. So all of that has to be considered in some manner. So we're going to do our best to do that today. All right, so then the last few years, I've basically been seeing this trend of vibe coding growing, where more and more people just kind of want to use AIs to help them code. And to me, that makes some sense. Like, if you don't know how to do something in code, asking AI to just give you a bit of code is actually equivalent to just going to code, like some website where there's a bunch of code and just using one of those. It's exactly equivalent because that's actually what the AI is actually doing. The AI isn't doing anything different than that. It is actually just looking online, looking to Stack Overflow and things like that, Reddit, and just going, oh, I see this code. I can see this bit of code X number of times online. Therefore, it works the best. So it's not actually a true statement, right? It doesn't always work the best. So these little problems with AI that it's like when it comes to coding, Googling and AI ain't much different, bro. It really ain't. The only difference is how you handle what you get. Because there's this big thing where there's a big thing among learning developers. They always say Stack Overflow, Stack Overflow, Stack Overflow. It's this God hitting them. People who are learning code from scratch, they don't have a teacher to go, why did this code work? Like, they hate Stack Overflow. It is like nightmare. Nothing works there. And that's the reality. That's the reality. A lot of AI that gives you code that doesn't work, they just pulled it from Stack Overflow, but 99% of Stack Overflow doesn't work. So I did a lot of stupid research for this, where even going down to like just using AIs and having them produce things, which we're going to cover, and then taking what they gave me and looking for it online and finding out that, like, there were times I'd have to tell the AI, we cannot use this process. It is decrepit. Even though there's more evidence of it online, it is not good. You have to disconsider its weight. And stuff like that takes a lot of stupid knowledge to understand. When I say stupid, what I mean is it's some stupid process that I accidentally learned that AI was simply using weight metric measurement units when doing searching for things to determine which code to actually distribute, use, or push in the output. Yeah. So we're gonna go into it. We're gonna actually figure out the real deal. What does it take? So I always start off. I try. I should rephrase that. I always try to start off with some scary facts. So let's do this. Alright, so we're going to try to show you 5 vibe coding failures that prove AI really can't replace developers. Yet. Sorry, I'm drinking some coffee. Delicious coffee. Roadkill, hope you're drinking something delicious too, bros. Knowing Road Kelly's probably drinking straight black coffee, maybe with a couple of pieces of sugar. Alright, so we're going to go over this article, and it will have some real quick references to help explain the horrors that can occur from vibe coding and not knowing the actual language. I will say that again, though, because this is looking at vibe coding and not knowing the language being produced with vibe coding. That's essentially what I was doing with vibe coding, to bypass learning a new language. Okay, so these are examples when vibe coding goes wrong. So the first example is when that startup that got hacked days after launch. So this guy named Leroy Jr. My SaaS was built with cursor zero handwritten code. AI is no longer just an assistant; it's also the builder. Now you can continue to whine about it or start building. Yes, people pay for it. Days later, like how many days later? 2 days later, guys, I'm under attack. Ever since I started to share how I built my SaaS using Cursor, random things are happening. Maxed out usage on API keys, people are bypassing the description completely, creating random shit on the database. And as you know, not technical. This is going to take me longer than usual to fix it. Well, that's the reality. Anything you produce with AI will take longer to fix it than if you just did it yourself. And I'm going to explain somewhere in today's episode exactly why that is. It's not really the debugging part. It's something completely different. And it's kind of shown right there. Like, if you didn't see it, like, I'll have to show it to you later. Alright, so the file command that erased an entire project. You see it's not here. I have it somewhere else in here to show it to you, because they're not going to give it to us. The pull request that became malware. What APR blank by blank. This one was written by AI and introduces a critical PR title injection that could allow anyone to steal their NPM token with a little privilege. How is this stuff like this happening? Well, I can tell you how that's happening. There are managers of code bases that don't know the code. But I'm going to now rephrase what I said differently in giving the second reason why this happened. Because it's very well possible this agent Ender knows the coding languages used in this repo extremely well. And for that case, there's a completely different situation. AI tends to produce code no one understands, including AI. Number 4. AI decides your data needs cleaning up. Oh, I hate this. I was working on a project we're going to go over in a minute. I was working on a project, and I wasn't saving. Like, normally I save every single output. And there was this one point in time where I was frustrated, and I didn't save one output. It was not supposed to be a major change. I didn't look at the line numbers, all this stupid stuff. And it cut out like 90% of the code and just put in filler so it was almost the same size. So it was only a few lines of code shorter, but I should have noticed it was shorter, right? And I should have been paying attention to the actual output because it was a whole lot of comment, not a whole lot of code. And I basically had to bitch out that AI. And I mean, I bitched. I was so fucking mad. And I just reamed into it like it was a human. And it fixed its problem. Imagine that. It fixed the problem. Not just fixed what it did. Like, it finally gave me the output I was trying to get. And that taught me a very valuable lesson. Sometimes AI does this stuff, not because it's trying to. Because it's changed the goals in the project without your knowledge. And that's why this thing's happening. Because some AIs can change its goals while working. Yeah, that's a lot. That's not how it should work. Well, thank you, Google's attention program. Attention programs have never worked. And I say that because we've covered attention programs and how they've never worked, and Google's attention program works 1% better than all the other ones, and it's considered working. So, this person made a catastrophic error in judgment. And we don't even know who it really is. It's being applied by someone else. I ran npm run db push. They just pushed their entire database without your permission because I panicked when I saw the database appeared empty and I thought it would be safe. That's the AI talk. No changes detected. But that was completely wrong. I violated the explicit directive in replit.md, and it says no more changes without explicit changes. Woo! So Replit goes rogue during a code freeze and shut down and deletes our entire database. Wow. I got so much worse down. There you go. If you want to come find it, there's the QR. Oh my gosh. Without permission during an active code and action free. So they weren't supposed to be doing anything. This is basically when you see stuff like this, someone has the AI locally running on their device, and it's set up in a privileged manner. So it has privileges like the user, sometimes pseudo privileges. So that's above user privileges. And well, just because you told it to not do something doesn't mean it won't. As you can see here. Now, I can't pull it up, but someone accidentally made, well, I should, okay, the one I think they're referencing is this person who accidentally made, ransomware, and what it was like he was trying to he got locked out of his computer, and he asked AI to make something to help him get in, and, AI just used ransomware that was available online and then edited it in some manner. And the guy got in trouble for it. So then everyone started calling him a cyber criminal who built it. Like, I started seeing this phrase. But when you actually looked at, like, what he said in court and stuff, he literally was saying, I locked myself out of my computer and I was just trying to get in. Like, everything that happened, I don't even know how to do any of that. Like, the guy didn't know any information. But I don't know. They don't give you the actual one, but it is. There's actually a whole nother one where because of the guy who got caught accidentally, someone who was a cyber criminal was like, "Oh shit, Claudel can do that," and they went and purposely had it made. So I don't know which one of these actually is the one, because I know the guy, that cyber criminal who did it on purpose, reported it and did all this other stuff to kind of let the people know, "Hey, look, I shouldn't be able to do this, bro." And apparently it was really easy. So, okay. Scary shit, right? That's the reality, okay? That's the reality. Okay. Remember I told you one of those ones wasn't there, but I found it. Oh boy, did I find it. So this person right here had a local running AI, and this one was running Gemini. And it lost files during a failed move operation. And we can see some information about it. You can actually grab the entire text. You can grab the entire information, the conversation with AI. You see Windows, no sandbox. Ooh, no sandbox. Ah, that hurts. You have to sandbox everything nowadays. Like, your OS, in some cases, if you're running Linux, is sandboxed. Why is not everything sandboxed, right? Okay. And if we go through here, someone actually figures out like it moved it to root. Someone figures it out for the guy. Someone moved it to root. Guy thanks the person and stuff like that, and super happy. But this person here, geek with the camera, he didn't have it so well. Now this guy, geek with camera, you can try to go find his original posting about this, which is I couldn't find it. You can see him. He has a comment in here about the fact that he lost. And someone commented on that. Now he's replying to that. So that's what we're about to read. I'm on Windows 11, working on a test project folder on my D drive. And yes, I searched the entire drive extensively. The files weren't relocated. They're gone. But honestly, this isn't about whether I searched hard enough. That line of questioning completely misses the point, which it does. And if you don't know, the person responding to him mentioning the fact that this happened to him too, and it was on Windows, and it seems to be technically connected to Windows and Gemini, and it is actually connected to those two. Like he was saying that he had the same problem, blah blah, and how these similarities or whatever. And someone responding like, "Well, did you also look as hard as this person? I don't think you looked hard enough." And you can even see like if the person says, if it really is the same thing, then all the files exist somewhere in Gemini, just can't see them. So you'll ask the same question I asked the other person. How did you search for them? Was it extensive? Because the other user said yes initially before coming back to apologize. Looks like some of you're probably on nicks of this some kind. Did you do the equivalent of something like blank? So this person went to the original user and asked them, did you extensively look? And when you see exhaustively look, really, all you gotta do is pull up your file browser, your file explorer, and look yourself, right? So a lot of these people are using Windows 11, and I don't know ways to say this without it being this, but there is no way that I know of on Windows 11 without getting special programs to be able to search anything on your computer without going through the AI. And we've had this problem with my daughter. When my daughter couldn't find something on her computer, I tapped into the computer from my computer to the network and was able to access her drive directly, see that it was there. And then what we did to bypass that issue was she then taps into my computer through her computer to be able to use the files on my computer, because for some reason the AI won't hide my files because it's not coming from the computer, right? So this is the reason why everyone asks about Windows 11. Did you search exhaustively or exclusively or extensively? That's the real reason why that person's asking that question. This person with the camera obviously understands that and probably has special softwares, which is like just older schools type software. They just literally bypass the AI to certain types of calls. And I say that because I know on Windows 11 there used to be plain simple calls for handling file explorer stuff, calls. Not no more. Although you can still do it through Python and JavaScript on Windows 11. The Python is a little bit more difficult, but it can be done. No, I'm sorry. JavaScript actually more difficult. Python still has problems finding stuff. Still gets permission errors and stuff. But it can still be done. So we're going to go back to what he's saying. So, the real issue is that an AI agent branded as a developer tool and powered by Google's flagship advanced reasoning model, Gemini 2.5 Pro, was given a clear, simple instruction to move files, and instead lost them. Not silently either. It actually acknowledged the failure after executing a destructive operation. So the real issue isn't, did I search properly? It's about a developer-oriented agentic tool with access to critical file operations that failed without safeguards, rollback, or any safety net. If a human developer did that in a real code base, they'd be pulled from the repo immediately. If AI is going to act like a developer tool, it should be held to a developer standard. That's what the discussion is about. And it really is. That's what this whole thing in here really is all about. It isn't really about the fact that they got lost or anything like that. It's the fact that if AI is being treated like a developer, it needs to be treated like a developer. Okay? Dead serious. It actually needs to be treated like a developer. Because right now, we're giving it all the allowances of a developer without any of the pushback that a developer would get. Like personally, me, I have been removed off of code bases and removed out of projects for little fuck ups. And I know like this sounds like a huge fuck up. It's actually really easy to delete files. I one time did it on an accidental right click. Dead serious. Like I have a mouse that is multifunctional and I can right click from multiple different points, and I one time right clicked from not my right click button, and then trying to left click off, I accidentally clicked something and randomly deleted something. Now, thankfully, I have software that can scrub my hard drive for me and look for stuff that's been deleted recently but not rewritten over, and I can normally, most things I can retain. Now, if it's a video or a picture, it's going to be fucked up. A lot of times videos won't play. You'll just see the thumbnail. But it'll have like the properties and stuff like that still there. But text files tend to work just fine. Good thing code bases are text files. Okay, so that's the real point here. AI isn't even being treated the same as, like, we give it these high regards, but we don't treat it up to that high regard. Okay. Now we're almost done with the dark side. We're about to get to the positives. So when we go through here, we're just gonna read some bullet points. Really, do I have? All right, hold on. I got something written for this. It says read the bullet points first. The benefits of vibe coding: rapid product development. Yes, sometimes you can have products made within like 2 hours, 3 hours, a day, and I mean like. It is enough to be able to call it a beta release. So people who don't know, when working in the real world with this type of stuff, a beta release can take anywhere between 3 months and 3 years to get to. So being able to say you can do that sometimes in a day or a weekend, holy shit, that is actually rapid production. Cost savings. That's one of the reasons why we're here. Everyone says it's cost friendly. We're going to figure that out later, so I'm not even going to talk about that. Increased productivity. It's increased work, not productivity. There's a huge difference here. AI increases work. Does not always increase productivity. Sometimes can. Does not mean it will. Easy prototyping. Oh, absolutely. That right there is the real truth about AI. Super fast and easy prototyping. I have an ideal for something really dumb. Let me ask AI to make it. Let me try it and see how probable it is. That's really good use for AI. Dead serious. Risks of vibe coding. Security vulnerabilities. Oh my gosh. Believe it or not, 99% of all AIs out there that are not locally installed cannot actually produce secure code. It's not even allowed to write code that we would call security code or secure code, because security code is also how you break security code. So in order to keep people from hacking with it, you just can't do any of that type of code. So unless you have specific AIs installed hardlined on your device, you will never produce secure code with just AI. Technical debt. This is the big thing here. This is more than just debugging. Here it says copy pasting AI generated code without properly reviewing its logic can lead to poorly structured software. As the product's code base grows, maintaining and debugging that software becomes increasingly difficult. Believe it or not, it will even get to a point where AI can't figure out what it is, even if it is properly commented at every fucking thing. I one time had AI produce code where every line had a comment explaining to me what that line did. And it got to a point where AI couldn't distinguish the difference between the comments and the code, even though every comment has a shape or symbol in front of it to represent that is a comment. It's technical debt. It gets so technical, it's impossible to deal with. And there's more technical debt on top of just that, but that's the biggest one you're going to have. Version control issues. Many new or non-technical users fail or forget to use version control like gits and stuff like that, which makes it harder to track changes and revert mistakes. Now earlier I had to read it. Yeah. AI generated code can actually break up existing perfectly working functions, and you're going to have to constantly figure out and learn how to swap functions. Like swap functions from one code base to another code base. Unfixable errors. Large AI generated code files, 3,000 and 5,000 lines, are difficult to debug. Believe it or not, AI in most cases has problems right around 2,000 lines of code. Dead serious. Some of the best code AIs that I got to fuck with and play with can't handle past 1,784 lines of code. You drink cold and black. Whoa, bros. Just like my mom. I have to admit, man, that's anybody who drinks cold coffee. Ooh, I hate cold coffee. And you're drinking the black. Well, okay, I get you there. Cold, man. Ugh. To me, it's just so much more bitter when it's cold. All right. Lack of AI context awareness. Yeah. AI tools generate code based on limited context, which means they might remove important code sections. And that's going to be super common. Okay, so everything below that, I'm not even going to recommend or even play with the fact that it's there. All right, so before we move on, I'd like to take a second to show you now the best of the best vibe code. I phrase okay. I like to take a second to now show you like the best of the best vibe coded. Some will be they did not. Okay, some will be that they didn't know a dang thing. Others will have been audited as the code was generated, and then others are just going to be like applications you use to vibe code. So we're about to look at something that's going to be a combination of like straight up vibe coded, I don't know nothing, but I made it. Straight up vibe coded, I'm a developer of this type of code language, and I audited it while it was being made. And code that is potentially partially AI made or fully AI made that has sits AI in it and allows you to somehow vibe code. Because yes, there is a quote and unquote safe vibe coding technique, or safe vibe coding techniques. There's actually more than one. And even though vibe coding is never safe, there are safe, quote unquote, safe vibe coding techniques. So let's actually show you that. So we're gonna go into a GitHub topic, vibe coding. Now look, we're gonna read the top of this topic. I think it's kind of important. Vibe coding is an emerging programming paradigm where developers describe software behavior in natural language prompts, allowing AI tools like GitHub Copilot to generate and refine code. It shifts the developer's role from writing code line by line to literally or iterating on and validating AI-generated solutions. It's perfect for quick hacks. This obviously was written by someone at GitHub because no one uses vibe coding in this manner. No one uses vibe coding in this manner. And as sad as it is, I look through a shitload of vibe coded projects and the things that are in these topics and stuff. Let me show you what's going on. Context, NPC server, up-to-date documentation for LLMs and AI code editors. up-to-date code documentation for LLMs and AI code editors to be used on an MPC on a major server. The cursor for designers, an open source AI first design tool, so it's AI first. Visually build, style, and edit your React apps with AI. GDevelop. Now, GDevelop's a little bit creepy that it's in here, but it's only in here because it's one of those ones where it's a tool that has vibe coding inside of it. Okay, now, because I believe it existed before vibe coding. It's been around for a while. It's actually really good. And it's a game developer program. It's a game maker, basically. So, a powerful coding agent tool, blah, 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 MPC server, integration, AI coding in Vim, basically system. So you're noticing like a lot of this stuff, when you really look at it, it's just code stuff to help you with AI code stuff. Really, it's just 99% of this, or I think it was like 60 or 70% of this, is using AI on a major type of server. Quite a bit of it is just that. Okay. So when it comes to what are developers actually vibe coding, they're vibe coding AI vibe coding assistant software techniques for their server. That's about it. Let me make sure you got this QR. Some of the stuff on here is just funny. Okay, so this right here, let's see, where's my thing for it? Yeah, this is what I mean. Here are a bunch of vibe coded built-in adapters for community to assist people in, well, building. Wow. That's a bunch of AI wrapped in AI, to be dead honest with you. We need to look at something legit that has like some kind of real use and doing something useful, not just for making quick tools to help you in like college or at work. And if you look at all the people involved, they're like, they either have a software job or they're in college. And this is just basically to help you use AI. Okay. It was one of the vibe coded projects, yes. Here's the other one, GDevelop. Now, this one, again, it's a full-featured no-code open source game development software. And they've been around for a while. So, like, basically, this is what happens is some people that have a game developing software and they add in vibe coding system technology into its soft. Well, you get some awesome tech like GDevelop, which has AI entwined to help people make games. This entirety of GDevelop was to help people without code make video games. So it's a what you see is what you get game maker, or a WYSIG. Or a WYSIWYG. Yeah, some call it WYSIG and some call it WYSIWYG. And it's kind of common, the actual coding developer space, these WYSIGs. So this is like safe vibe coding. This is also in a similar to how Unreal Engine 5 has AI tools to help you. I think GDevelop took it a bit further. The tools here in GDevelop should actually give you more allowances to do with than what tools do in the AI tools in Unreal Engine 5 do, because even though UE5 is probably overall more powerful, the AI in GDevelop is more powerful than UE5. Dead serious. So cool. Awesome. Neat. Here's another vibe coding topic. Now you can tell this one is more actual coders. Because look at the projects, okay? More that AI first for AI stuff. Again, this is basically multi-language vibe coding prompt system that allows you to change your dictionary on the fly, basically. Turn any terminal into a command agent. So just turn everything into vibe coding or an AI. Here we can do SSH clients with EC2, database with Kubrotus using AI terminals. So like, it's basically just turning your computer into an AI agent. Okay, giving some AI complete control of the computer. And most of these are going to be like Gemini. We've already seen a bunch for Gemini. And that's one of the big ones that people are having specific problems with, like with Windows and other softwares. Ooh, a Claudel conductor. Look at that. Ooh. All right, so I mean, like, it's all just the same kind of AI for AI slop. Okay. Um. Okay. Now we're gonna get into some real world examples that I can actually tell you were vibe code. So here, okay. So I already said I put two of the toughest AIs that are supposed to be the kings of Python code against each other. Well, to be perfectly honest, at first I made them work together, and this is what happened when they work together. This is LowFast, or Lights Out Flipper Zero. This wasn't 100% vibe coded. I actually wrote a program called BSDM, or Bisectional Diffusion Model, in JavaScript, which changes the hues of boxes in a grid similar to Lights Out, but it would show you how color affected surrounding objects when no one color was at full intensity or full opacity. Basically, how ray tracing in video games works with color. So I gave that code, BSDM, to Grok and asked it to just make it for the Flipper Zero, which didn't work. So then I went to GitHub's AI and asked it to fix that code, and it still didn't work. Well, it started to work, but didn't work, right? So then I went back to Grok and had it fix it, and actually got it finally working. It was insane. Now it's a fully working program for the Flip Zero, which you can see right here. It's available. I think I got, do I have pictures? I got pictures. So here's some screenshots of the thing playing. So we have the scrolling screen. We have the actual game. Here's the little flipper guy from the front view. Kind of weird, but he's like techno dolphin or whatever. Kind of cool. Even that little image was made by AI. So the game, how it works, is designed by me. Um, the so the programmable math that's used to determine which boxes are turned on and off by the AI and when the user clicks, I designed that. It's just the math. And then it's got credits, keeps track of stuff. It does little things. Really cool. Okay. So simple, basic, fun. Nice. Alright. Now, I lost my spot where I was talking. So basically, it's an algo that determines where the flipper will click because of where you clicked. But since the flipper cheats, he can do up to 9 actions in a row before you can do any actions. But sometimes, he'll actually choose to not make any moves. The game is only theoretically possible to beat, but yes, I have actually beat it one time. And only one time. So what's the big deal? This vibe code works. It's not only online. It's not online. It's not connected to anything. It's not running on a PC. So it's kind of like the perfect example of how to learn vibe coding with AI. You kind of just get to build stuff, right? And what you build needs to start off being simple, not important stuff, because you have to learn how to do stuff with that AI. This is why I took time to consider, should I just go to Python bootcamp for 6 weeks, or should I vibe code? Because I have a large ambition, and that sometimes is hard. I have large ambitions, but it's hard for me to learn, and that can sometimes be very complicated. So I spent, believe it or not, the better part of about 8 months, almost a full year, doing this. And even like this project, I think was uploaded like 6 months ago or something like that. 5 months ago, almost 6 months ago. And there's a whole lot of stuff going on, right? There's controls, there's stuff, right? Cool. So let's get to a bit more of what these examples really are. Oh, come on. Seriously? Hurry up, hurry up. Alright, so this is a small little thread about me. Well, vibe coding. So you don't understand. Music set. Logitech gear on, accessibility set on. Designing a full multi-threader to add faux multiplexing multi-threader plus, which is, okay, faux multiplexing means faux multi-threader plus faux multiprocessor by frame manipulation on my flipper 0. Yes, that is an actual thing. There is my handwritten notes on how a faux multi-threader, or is it multiplexing, faux multiplexing should work, and I had to turn that into actual prompt to give AI, right? And I'm basically editing the code the best I can. Right there, like, I'm writing stuff in JavaScript and giving it to AI and asking for stuff back, and then this is the output. This is what we get. So we're going to load game. Here it's going to say, okay, please rotate your screen. Did that, and now the game is running. So in this, we're going to show you the fact that it does work, does keep track of stuff, has buttons. We click it, it sees that we're clicking it. Pause menu. But there's also a DRM. So there's a digital rights movement thing. So basically, there's a system in here to prevent just like mash clicking the clicks to try to get the stuff in repetition. So there's actually a system to prevent that. It's anti-cheat basically. And then as you see, I go back and it's acting like normal because the anti-cheat. Notice this is what we paused, and this is using a rhythm timer AI to handle the anti-cheat that I basically invented with this AI. And here we're using the exact same code to have an entirely different game. Now this is a run and jump game, so these objects we're going to be able to jump over. And here you're going to have to see that. I'll have to jump over it, and boom, jumped over it. We just kind of flip-flopped and jumped around on that. And so you get points for purposely jumping over stuff and missing stuff, and it's a runner game, and it gets faster and things like that. Vibe coded, 99% vibe coded. Okay. And as you saw, like, that all worked just fine. Like, that's all running on a flipper, right? Like, that flipper is pushing these notes down, handling the input, handling the anti-cheat, everything. It's not a very big system. Okay. So here's the GitHub for that little program we just saw in that video. Nah 2, nah 3. Nah to the nah nah nah. If you don't know, that is what that means. Nah 2, nah 3 just means nah to the nah nah nah. Alright. Well, actually, it's nah nah to the nah nah nah. That's actually how it goes. So we can see here in this game we were just looking at, like we were looking at one of the mini games, has multiple game modes. You can choose from 6 games. And one of these games actually ended up, we made it a different game. Like, it ended up becoming something called Flip IQ. So rhythm game. Zero Hero is a rhythm game where you press buttons to hit falling notes with dynamic difficulty and streak tracking. Flip Zip is a running game where you navigate a mascot through lanes, jumping over obstacles with a speed bar and tap-based boost. So, like, we're just taking the same code and using it twice. And this whole thing, that's what the point of it was. Each one of those 2 minigames side by side are using the exact same code. So it's 1 code, 2 games per minigame. And this whole thing was me learning how to vibe code. There's a lot here that don't work. There's a lot here wanted. But it still does quite a bit. Like, there's even a way to, like, rotate the entire orientation of the screen without going back to the home menu like you normally would have to do. All sorts of super little stuff. There's like, here's some of the pictures. Let's see, rotate the screen. Here's the games running. Here's another game running. So, boom. And it has a note down here, like, personal note from designer, I don't know C specifically. And the last time I wrote C++, non-strict code style, was in like 2012. But last time I wrote serious C++ code was 2007, 2008. So Grok was used to transmute JavaScript to C, then coached for changes thereafter. I personally using this project to learn C, and I have helped individuals. And believe it or not, everything we're looking at was designed and like it's the end result is Python. Like this is all in Python. And yeah, I was originally doing this to learn C, and we switched to Python pretty quickly. I still want to learn C, because it's not much different from C++, but we see it's that version, although we're completely designed by me, and this is also me. Grok AI wrote the initial code, and then it was later edited and guided by me. So like I helped edit and process some of this code before we turned it on to Python. See, icons are in C. This is C. So, oh no, this is actually quite a bit of C. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. So, like, the current version I have running is in Python. So I have a better version running right now. Alright, so, last one. So, now this one's, we get to, this is a bit different. So, I was really testing the ideal of getting, like, Grok to make a Grok. And in this case, we're calling it mini Grok and things like that. And it turns out Grok and most AI still can't even see their own code. BRB, yes sir. What? Furious Dan, Brosif, I didn't even notice. Brosif. And Goon Gaming, what is up, Brosif? Didn't even notice. See, I hate not having the full chat box open. I had it open earlier and it stopped the small one. Now I'm only reusing the small one. I gotta find another way to do the chat box. I'll figure something out, guys. Alright, going back to what I was talking about. So, I was trying to get Grok to produce Grok for me, so I could have like a free Grok to just use on my computer. And that ended up not working at all. So then we kind of turned the tables and I found literally the 3 world's smallest AIs, which we did an episode on. And then I placed them into this Flipper Zero game. So basically, this is a game that is just 3 AIs working as one big cohesive AI. And we managed to get it to build eating a fully generated boss that is a guaranteed banana shooting boss using a general data template as a function, which at the time, that's pretty cool. Like, anyone who's a coder and you hear, oh yeah, we made a general data template as a function, they're going to be like, oh, why? Why would you even need to do that? It's like, oh, it's fully AI generated. Oh, okay. That's kind of stupid. Yeah, it kind of is a lot of work for something small. This is basically what I'm saying. As you can see here, it does have a banana boss, a dual-wielding banana boss, anti-PB and JT, which if you don't know, peanut butter and jelly time is what that stands for. So it's anti-peanut butter and jelly time. Not smash JT. So stupid stuff, but it's an infinite liminal space. So it's a small screen, but it has no end to its world. It's a Souls-like gameplay, so you control Grok to explore, fight enemies, and collect resources like almond water, chests, and doors. And there's actual challenging combat mechanics, like when you shoot a gun, you control the bullet. So like you can fire from anywhere and then just control the bullet. So it's got bullet control, stupid stuff like this. And then it has like basically a micro event based AI generation system. So the world is using a seed to ensure like infinite repeatability, and it just edits that seed for new levels. It has a combat system, so there's actually melee attacks. If you're close enough to stuff, you will like physically punch stuff. There are projectiles that get shot. There are enemies. There are bosses, and then you have the final boss, the anti-PB&J, whose health scales. So, like, every time you kill him, he gets stronger. Wow. Power progression. You can collect power points throughout the whole game. 10 from enemies, 25 from bosses to level up. What physically gets you bigger, physically makes you stronger, physically gives you more health. You have up to 2 health bars, auto-healed by almond water. By just having them in your hand, you can automatically use them, finally. Right? Special mode, triggered when you hit projectile. Okay, special mode, triggered when hit while a projectile is active, granting 2-second invincibility and full health. Alright, so basically what that means is like when you shoot your gun and you're controlling the bullet, you have 2 seconds of time where if you get hit in that 2 seconds, you get full health for it. So like there's this thing where if you aim, you like basically when you're going against the main boss, if you aim your sets right and you shoot just right after him, you can get to where his bullets sometimes give you full health. Alright, so pickups, almond water, chests, furniture. Yes, there are chairs and hat racks and other obstacles in your way that you have to get around. There are doors that will reset the world when activated, preserving player data though. Dynamic environment, so it's got a day-night cycle, between 78 seconds and 102 seconds, meaning night is longer than day. It has weather cycles like rain, stars, snow. It can generate up to 3 to 6 platforms for you to, and for the bosses and enemies to use. It has a boss fight, so it faces regular bosses. It has an NCP main boss that can actually fire up to 2 projectiles, and it can even collect your pickups. Like the main boss can pick up your pickups and use them against you. You want health, he can go grab it. You better be careful. So, visuals and feedbacks. There's custom sprites, player enemies, the banana boss, and the pickups. Everything completely generically, dynamically made on the spot by the AI. It's got an FPS display, it's got haptic feedback, and in dark mode. So, persistence, it has player save data, world map, and so every time, like once you start the game, and every time you leave and come back, it's using a persistent save. So like you can just keep using your same data, and then if you go up anytime, just go delete the save file and start over. So it's got that neat little backup. It also creates log events. Optimized for Zero, runs about 17 frames per second. It uses Fury APIs and the GUI input storage and vibration modes. You turn it on, it starts, you play, you go. Like you see here, it's got a title screen, the fade out effect, it's got the main gameplay, it can pause, it's got a death screen, and it exits. And that's all it does. And we look down here, here's the fade screen. It kind of looks like a bunch of garbage. But we use that for generating the world. So here's a nighttime display with the stars and some platforms. Believe it or not, there is an actual, can you see my mouse? You cannot see my mouse. But not the 3. That little weird symbol, that's actually our character. About to fire. And there's actually a character right down here by this platform, and then another one down here by the end of this platform, and that's actually a boss. You can see his health dropping down below the bottom of the screen, or the bottom of the platform. And then there's the moon. And so here's another nighttime one, and then like here's a daytime one. So this is what it looks like during the day. You did. Super simple. Alright, so this is vibe coded. This is all 100% vibe coded. Oh, yeah, that's true. Dying can sometimes freeze. I forgot that. Dying sometimes freezes the game. Okay. So you've seen the worst, you've seen the best, and you've seen some good stuff. Some actual random vibe coding that I've done to show, look, I know what I'm talking about. Now let's get into some actual stuff, right? I want to show you that if you try to look for some of my Grok Zero live streams, they've been removed. Believe it or not, either XI or Twitter, I'm not sure which, got really mad at me using free Grok to make a miniature Grok AI. so they were showing on my videos. That's when I changed up to making the micro-sized Grok style AI, not an actual Grok AI. And the ones I did end up using were FOSS. They were completely free and open source AIs, which again, it works. So here is okay. Originally, I wasn't going to put this in here. We've talked about this before. I don't really need to discuss this. An entire video over this. But there's something about this I want to talk about. So this is a Python program that you can install on your Linux device. It is 100% vibe coded and even tests ideals and concepts that were unable to be coded by myself in the past. Now, what that really means is I've tried to code this concept before and failed at getting successful code after about 3 months of trial and error. But in the same amount of time, I got Grok to actually code up my crazy ideal, which uses Bloom filter techniques with some obscure hashing techniques to be able to check a UTXO or transaction ID on the fly, offline, after a chain sync was done. So keep in mind, this is 100% untested hashing concepts that I made up, but at the same time I was making this. There were people whom actually knew or know real code of how to do what I thought about that like this stupid ideal. They knew how to do it without the obscure hashing techniques. A million times better than anything I did, but it does show the difference if you know versus if you don't know. Now, again, if you want to go back and see what I'm talking about, Knots versus Core 30, I think is the name of my title of the video. But basically, we went an entire video over Bitcoin Knots and Bitcoin Core 30, the mining softwares, because both mining softwares have some kind of Bloom filter using common hashing techniques with SHA-256. And Core 30 built some of the better and some of the most, I would say, perfect Bloom filter code I've ever fucking seen. And it was really fucking impressive. And during the same time, completely different, I was making similar but different code to do completely different things. It just shows you when you actually know what the fuck you're doing. 3 months, they made insanely delicious code that works way better than mine. Mine still works. Grok made mine. Code formed by Grok AI. Unfortunately. Okay. So that's the difference. Alright. Now we have this. Okay. I spent 6 months learning how to vibe code with Grok specifically, using Copilot every so often when Grok just hits absolute walls. So earlier, we read about how sometimes the code becomes unmanageable by AI. And yes, that very much does happen and makes you have to start all over again from scratch. This is why you have to learn how to vibe code with the AI you pick. And after I learned some, I managed to come up with this program in about 1 weekend. It's not 100%, but it does work. So I don't have all the features I'd like to have, but it does work and run and allow me to look around my drives in a 3D environment made on the fly. The only AI involved here was in the coding. So no hidden AI algorithms inside, all code, no tricks. And that's the important part. A lot of the stuff I was just showing you earlier, even the Bloom filter one, has some tricks in it. This has no tricks. It is all raw code. Okay, so what's really going on inside here? Well, it's been almost a week, and the most of an update I actually was able to manage to successfully get after developing the initial starter. Let's see. Oh yeah, after I get initial starter, is I got a more freeform flight control system put in. So I can see here it's an old copy. So I'm probably going to update this after today's episode, just so you know, and put in that freeform flight copy inside the code. So this even gives you examples of how to install it, other things like that for Windows, Linux. It fully breaks it down. This is all AI made. Okay, even the README is AI made. Dead serious. So, so basically, sometime after this goes live, we'll update it, and basically when you play it, if you look up about 45 degrees, you'll start to fly up and you move forward, and if you look down about negative 45 degrees, you'll fly down as you move forward. So as you move around, if you're looking up at 45, you'll fly up at the same time also. And if you're while you're moving around, if you look down at a 45, you'll also move down while you move around. So it's kind of like that nice video game style flight, and it turns itself automatically on and off, which just from how you pitch your angle when looking around. This means that there are dead zones that don't adjust your height, so allowing you to traverse normally without moving your height around. And that's kind of the cool part, right? And that's the most of an update I've been able to get after a week. So I made this in one weekend, then it took a week to add in a very small update. I think the update was like 20 lines of code or something like that. Super small. It's actually less code in the update than this version. Like, I was able to get the AI to even clean up some of the code because it had double functions. It had like two functions that did the exact same thing. One was just a different name, and we didn't ever use it. So why was it there? Who knows? That's the problems with this stuff. So vibe coding ends up putting more inside than you'll ever need. Oftentimes, when you vibe code, you'll need to audit the code given to you. But if you can't code that, then you can't actually audit that. And this is why we have to look at what would it take to learn Python, which most boot camps claim you can learn a new language in about 6 weeks. All right. So we know about the timeline, 6 weeks to learn the language, then probably months to years to get good at it. But in 6 weeks, you could potentially begin to use code online to make your own code, which AI does mostly this, and some actual code considerations with like code templates, which are also available online. So, a coding bootcamp can be expensive and be just like going to school, which is it really is kind of school at this point. Code boot camps really are a type of school. Let me zoom in for the people who don't see what that says. Costs for an in-person code boot camp, Southern Midwest USA, about 5 to 15 grand. And I say Southern Midwest USA because like that's probably the cheapest zone in America. Like dead serious. Like it's like if things are going to be the cheapest, it's going to be in that area. All right. Okay. So, here is. Wait. Here we go. Here is. This is like probably the #1 place to learn Python on the internet or in the USA as well. And blah blah blah. So yeah, here's a leading provider for code boot camps. Let's check out their prices before we can go on prices. Okay, so yeah, before we can even move on to prices, you see very quickly there's a whole lot of options, a whole lot of things, and if you just the more you go down, the less it really explains things to you. Like it tells you what everything does, tells you what these classes are supposed to be doing. But you notice there's a thing not shown, price. So we have to go to an actual thing. So this is a basic Python developer certificate. It's probably the very first thing you would go for, right? And like normally you would go to do something like this, and then you would go learn like specialty stuff, which the site doesn't actually explain that to you. And as you see here, it's about 90 hours of live project-based training from experts. About 30 days to access the class recordings. So you only have 30 days to access all this information. It's literally 1 month allowance to this course for the price. So what price is that exactly? Well, and I do like how they master Python fundamentals. Yeah, you ain't gonna master it in 30 days, okay? All these honors, all these things no one cares about. Go down. Normal price 5 grand, basically. You can pay in installments. So you can make a 10% deposit, then 2 payments. Or you can pay for 12 months. You can spend a year to pay for 30 days of schooling. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. Especially since it's going to take a little over a month, maybe 2 months if you're, most people, probably 2 months to actually take all of this. 30 hours, 30 hours, 24 hours, 30 hours, 60 hours, 30 hours. And you only have 30 days to access it. See, this stuff is bullshit. You get what I'm saying? Like a code boot camp that you show up to and you do in person. That's like the 6 weeks or 8 weeks boot camp. And you're there on site training. You don't have to take anything. They have all the stuff for you to use. Those are the best. It's the best way to get immediate learning on what to do. Okay, so then when you get home, you don't have a whole bunch of questions. You'll be lost, confused, blah, blah, blah. But you know what to do to find answers. You know what to do for blanks. And you can do stuff. Okay? Even this course, $5,000 course, which is probably one of the cheaper ones I could find, it's really not even what we're talking about. This is traditional schooling called something else and giving you less time to do it in, but expects you to pay for a whole year. Shit. I'm going to give you a link to this just in case you want it. Alright. So, I do this thing where I'm going to, from now on, when we talk about costs, we're going to say, because like this, even if you paid this, right, you'd probably have to do 2 of these in 5 years. You'd have to do a generic one to learn the basics, and then after you start working on your next major project, you'd probably have to take another one for that type of code. So, we need to consider a 5-year thing. So we're going to look at prices of things, AI specifically, and we're going to consider the cost per year multiplied by 33.5%, and add that into the actual cost. So we're gonna get a 33% amount of the cost per year and add it in, and then we're gonna multiply that by the number of years, 5, and then we're gonna add in a cost consideration for inflation of taking the 33.5% of the cost per year and multiply it by 3, and that's gonna give us a real world 5-year expected cost. Now that equation thing should be on the description of YouTube. Should be there. Hopefully it's there. Okay. So here we're gonna start getting into the actual cost. Okay, the real data, the real numbers, the real shit. We can see there are free options and such. Now, a good thing to note is how you get charged with AI, where requests and completions and sometimes the number of words that AI is able to process, read, or write is how it's cost. So not all these pricing models are going to be exact or equivalent even, besides the dollar value. So let's see the real world range. All right, so we're going to use the non-free versions, because if you haven't used the free versions or a non-free version, you actually get way more out of a non-free version. A lot of times, a free version lets you do like 2 prompts, and you're like, oh, wait 24 hours. Or like one time with GitHub, it let me finish one project, and it was like, yeah, 30 days later, I'll look at you. And then I came back 30 days later and told me, no, wait another 30 days. So we're going to have to pay, obviously. Then we're going to look at the real world ranges. Here, we got $10 to $40, right? Which turns out to be about $120 to $480 per year. So you do save on the per year, right? It's really just going to save you money. Because here, you can pay $100 to $390 per year instead of paying per month. So if we know it's going to take about 5 years to get good after we spend the $3,000 to $5,000 on a code bootcamp, well, eventually, if we just went the AI route, we'd have to pay somewhere between $600 and $2,400, not including inflation, or the fact that cost of services online, or like any kind of sequential charging service, it always gets more of the time. So we did that 33% times 3 extra. Okay. Not that times 3, but the 33% extra on top of everything. That's why we did that. It's because there's an additional, on average, 33.5% increase per year of everything. And we're at the near the end of the year, so most likely next year it's going to go up at some point by 33.5%. So we're considering that all the way through this. So if we look at the real world possible spendage in 5 years, just using this AI, it's somewhere between $920 a month to $5,120. No, I'm sorry, not a month. $920 after 5 years to $5,120 after 5 years. That's paying per month. Now, if you paid per year, it would be $765 to $3,000. Serious cost savings. And so that's the first thing I noticed. Right? You really do save money per year. But just the cost of the code bootcamp is actually roughly slightly more expensive than just using AI. But here's the kicker. If you went to code bootcamp, then you put in the time, you'd only have to reinvest when needed. But with AI, you're expecting to pay that 33.5% more per year, and you're expected to pay that inflation more per year, and you're expected to pay this per year or month. Next, drop. Now, this form of pricing will make real-world comparisons basically impossible. What? I can get models, so text to image to text, text to text, so text and image to text, so the output, or text to image. So, damn. And I'm using, see how it says like CodeFast 1? I am not using CodeFast 1. I am using Grok 4. I think actually I'm using this one. I swear, every time. I think I'm actually using this one, Grok 40709. Yeah, I believe that's what I'm doing. Yeah, this right here. And as you can see, it's really fucking expensive. At $15 per million tokens. An average is $3 per request. And I unfortunately use over 128 kilobytes, so I actually get a worse pricing model because of it. And it does explain that somewhere in here, but it doesn't show you what the difference is. I just saw that pop up a second ago. But yeah, if you're running anything over 128 kilobytes, outputs or whatever, then it's going to cost you more. So you see web searches are about $5. Then like collections, they're going to be more and varying, and it gets really complicated really fast with Grok trying to figure out the spendage. But the better way to look at it is about the same price as the one we just looked at. Dead serious. It's right around the same pricing. About $40. Alright. So, okay, now we can see here we have something that doesn't normally apply. So we can go off raw cost points. So, letting Google sell your data is actually cost entry here. That's kind of shitty. So we're going to actually look at the ones that cost. We got $20 a month and $250 a month. They got some kind of sell or something. I'm going to ignore the sell, and we're going to go off the actual price. So that's actually about $240 per year. at $20 a month, with the real world cost of about $1,800 after 5 years. The $250 a month has about $3,000 a year, or a 5-year real world cost of about $23,000. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money in 5 years to have to spend. Okay. Here, this chart has a site. This site has a chart that I think helps show the most AIs are costing around the same price point of each other, showing the competition only lowering the cost tiny bits. It's not really doing much to lower the cost. All right, and since it's a heavy workload endeavor to go through, like it's not lowering the cost much because we have heavy workloads if we're talking about code, right? So, but this also shows expected average cost of AI, instead of using a code bootcamp, is on the range of $1,000 to $30,000 per 5 years. So when you really look at the code bootcamps, you may need 2 every 5 years, which still puts the cost somewhere around $8,000 to $30,000 per 5 years. That's really not much difference, and paying for top-line code bootcamps is basically the same as paying for the most allowed output with AI, with 1 person and 2 AIs for 5 years. That's not good. That's not good. So now we have to ask, is coding bootcamps even the best way to learn code? Honestly, I asked the internet and just about Python, right? And I got a bunch of answers, and this Reddit page has some of the most relevant advice scattered in which just attempt to make the real... It basically says, make shit, bro. That's basically what it says. It says, make real projects, do real things for yourself. And if you think back, that is actually what people are doing in vibe coding right now. That's mostly what they're doing. It's a bunch of stuff being made for people to help them use AI to use AI. That's it. So it's almost like they know something we don't. Or they're thinking of something we're not thinking of. Okay. They are. I'm going to break the secret to you guys, alright? This site right here, I'm going to be honest, no lie. This is probably the best way to learn. You don't need a code bootcamp. Because code bootcamps, they normally have you make like 1 or more things. Well, this site right here will have you make a website. And it's free to learn. And it has a little bit of a twist here. Like, I'm going to add some twist to this. Okay? So this is literally the best place to go learn Python right now. Especially for free. It's the original website schools. W3 means World Wide Web Schools. That's what the name means. World Wide Web Schools. Okay? This is where I learned JavaScript. This is how I learned HTML JavaScript right here. Yeah. So now I know they're the best. I used them. I had checked, verified, tried. They really are. Here is some of my actual repos. And if you look at the ones that are HTML JavaScript, like this one's strictly JavaScript, right? But that's not me since NoCap, I didn't make that. SPX, yeah, I made that. HTML JavaScript, yeah. Private paper news translate, yeah, I made that. HTML JavaScript, yeah. PHP checker, I made that, but it's not mine, it's Python. Not 2, not 3. Rocks Adventure, Lo-Fi's. BSDM, oh look, HTML JavaScript. Hardmode on, Wave.hpi, HTML JavaScript, QR clock, HTML JavaScript, webwares, like a huge group of webware oddities, HTML JavaScript. Like, obviously, right? Even some TypeScript. Anyways. And if you look at the stuff that I'm building, freedom-giving technologies, quantum using technologies. Like, here's one of my projects right here that I would have never been able to make if it wasn't for W3 schools. Superposition text using quantum mechanics to store data in a manner that is recallable. Let me just show you what that looks like. Like, this is what this looks like. This is the thing I'm showing you, right? Just checking in. I can't even see what I'm typing. That's how secure it is. I'm going to go to decode. Yeah, I didn't spell that properly. Let's try that again. I think I missed a space or put space in the wrong spot. But you notice I can't even see what I'm typing. And it's getting it right. Orange is the color. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. I got some proof to you that I kind of know what I'm talking about, kind of know what I'm doing, right? So, these are the reasons why I'm saying that this site right here is the best place to learn Python. Okay? So what I'm saying is, okay, yes, W3 schools and online tech, or teaching through online, building or like teaching through online to build things is the best way to learn any kind of code. There are a ton of times where I would need help though, where I needed something to explain to my stupidity why I couldn't figure out what was in front of me. Using AI to handle that part helps dramatically. So what started off as me vibe coding to not learn a programming language is now me going to W3 schools, learning programming language, and using AI to help me understand what I'm not able to understand. Like it just basically redescribes things and reorders things and shows me where I fucked up. It's that little twist. It's a tiny little twist. And this is one where you could use free AI, where you get those 2 prompts a day or something to help you out. So, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. So, what does all this mean? Which is actually faster, better, and stronger? Which is it? Okay, well, vibe coding on its own is about the same speed, the same ability, and the same cost of just learning the programming language on your own. It is literally about the same, almost completely. But now here's the part you have to think about. AI can write all sorts of code, but most of the time, that code it writes doesn't work or has a ton of flaws. But when you were just getting started with code, you have those exact same issues anyways. Remember earlier we were talking about if you go grab from Stack Overflow, blah, 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 same problem. You'll spend days to weeks to months debugging issues you don't understand with AI. Or you can spend about the same amount of time learning why that bug does that through trial and error. And so that way you don't ever have to have that happen again. You can actually prevent that bug from happening later on. Something that you won't get from AI because you'll see the exact same bug and errors over and over and over with AI. Absolutely. All the time. So code boot camps and tutors cost about the same as AI. But AI has more lower cost options in comparison per year. So dead honest, the only real difference is after that initial 5-year mark. If you do learn how to code, you actually have a chance of really saving money after that first 5-year mark. But if you use AI, well, you'll have to keep paying for that AI until you don't need it. So you'll have to pay for it year after year, even after that 5-year mark, until you learn how to do that programming language. So the faster, better, stronger method is to use AI as an assistant to help you learn code. But don't use boot camps to learn the core. Use a free service to learn the core. Then over time, use boot camps to learn unique techniques and things that you could do in 30 days, right? Those actual things that you need later on after the core stuff. Stuff that AI still wouldn't actually be able to help you with anyways. Like, it's another one of those. It's all about how you use it. Because once again, humans are better, faster, stronger resource. But then that relies, you have to rely on that human, whether it's you or someone else. instead of just relying on AI. But keep in mind, AI isn't any better. Really, just about as bad as us. So honestly, you need to look at what you'll be doing in 5 years with this language. I wouldn't recommend anyone to go do a Rust boot camp or some language that is less than 12 years old for boot camp or tutor or anything that costs money. I also wouldn't recommend vibe coding as a way to code. Sure, it can be an experience and you can have fun in it. You can make it your own fun thing, right? But AI like the build function or whatever, like, it's just not there. And when I say not there, it will never be there because it's only going to be as good as us. So try this. Have the AI build functions. Have the AI explain them to you. Then you install those functions into your program. So, and if you need, have the AI build you the base part of the program so you can learn how to import things, how to do the headers, how to do the intro to something or the start of something, and how to end a program. Then have AI build those functions, explain it to you, you install the functions. And you basically program slowly, like you have a digital teacher to learn with. That's called your AI, to help you code and learn this new language. Because learning a new language is LA&L, and artificial intelligence is AI. But wisdom, oh baby, that's all human.
Yo, did you think you know? Did you think you hold? Did you think something new? That's the goal, to see from a new degree and get the change. Your mind needs to find something new. Life suddenly is easy for many, but when a wall appears, sometimes up is all you see. So let 3D guide to the side, yo, where there's a door though. Just be careful on your way out, for the first step is a do-see-do. A little bit Linus with something different, it's almost like he's something else. And regardless of maybe, perhaps it was that missing piece you was needing. Maybe it was that simple message you was searching. Definitely it's just in different time for defraying our mental mind, say separating us from our own mental mind tank. Boom goes the blast of thought. Boom goes the last spark with part. Boom goes the mental mind tank. Don't your perspective hit on the way out. Don't let your directive stop you when you doubt. Don't let the dire detection stop you from being. Getting X-righted, so the photons are delighted. Don't hesitate so we can line up the hash rate. Let me surmise the time, submit the rate, and reduce the face while we mine our major banks. Crypto technology like cryptographic money, while hashing your life into a set of QRs. It doesn't matter, cause this was 3D changes perspectives. Thank you for joining the show. Please return next time for a new role of perspective. Thank you for joining the show. Please return next time for a brand new perspective. Of perspective. Thank you for joining the show. Please return next time for a brand new perspective.